Even though this moment is a bit in my rear view mirror now, I still got to admit it was pretty cool when it happened, going from Ultra rank to Master rank. If you'd like to make it into the Master rank from Ultra, or if you're still grinding your way up to Ultra rank right now, I think there's going to be a lot in this guide that will help you out. I'm going to give you my top 8 tips for making it into Master rank. Hi everybody, this is Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yeehaw! Let's do it. Without further ado, tip number 1. This was going to be my first tip, but now that I think about it, this tip doesn't count. It doesn't fit the spirit of this guide. However, this is a good tip. The tip is partner up with anyone. Partner up with someone who just has a basic understanding of the game and is not going to do something completely stupid. I would honestly partner with someone you know is kind of bad at this game, as long as you know they're generally going to play it correctly. What do I mean by playing it correctly? Well, I'll talk more about that later inside this video, but for the time being, pair up with someone if you can. Again, I won't count this as a tip. You got that free. Enjoy that freebie. Okay, the actual tip number 1. The actual tip number 1 is to take the top lane. Look, if you can get the jungle with an extremely good jungle Pokemon like a Cinderace, then I would say great. Go ahead and take the jungle. But a lot of the times people are itching to take that jungle. They'll do it with anything they can. If you have a Pokemon that you're relatively competent with that is a carry, I would put them in the top lane. Now, by carry, what do I mean? I mean a Pokemon often that's an attacker, but sometimes an all-rounder that you can do a lot of damage with. Pikachu is a pretty decent choice, although he falls off later in the game. I'll get you to some Pokemon that I think are excellent choices for this a little later. However, the strategy behind going top lane, if you're not able to jungle with a great Pokemon, is that once Dreadnought starts to come up, you can rotate down and fight Dreadnought. This is a tip I've heard talked about a lot for solo queue players, and I think it's very true. As long as you're moving down to fight Dreadnought, you're at least one person heading down there. You're calling it out with your in-game chat, you're pinging Dreadnought, and you're making your way down for the fight. You're getting there early enough to help your team set up for it. If you do that, you play your lane well in the beginning, and then you head down to fight Dreadnought, you're at least doing better than 30% of the people who are climbing that rank. I hope you're holding on to your hats, because here comes tip number 2. Tip number 2, have at least one Pokemon from a few different roles that you're fairly competent with. In order of importance, I'd say it would probably go attacker, defender, maybe support and all-rounder about the same, and then speedster at the bottom. The game lets you unlock a lot of Pokemon relatively for free, so a lot of the people I'll be recommending in this guide will be along those lines. If you happen to have everyone unlocked, go take a look at a tier list and you can see who works great in each role. As far as attackers go, I think Ninetales and Pikachu are great choices. The game gives you Slowbro as a defender, and he's excellent. Support's a little trickier, but if you have the ability to get Eldegoss, I would highly recommend Eldegoss. For the all-rounders, I think Lucario and Machamp are the best choices. And as far as speedsters go, they give you Zeraora for free, so I would go with Zeraora. But honestly, I don't think you need to play a ton of speedster to make it to Master rank. Not only because there's some better options for jungle Pokemon right now, but because someone in your game is going to pick a speedster and call the jungle almost every time on your way up to Master rank. The reason you want a Pokemon from each role that you're pretty decent with is because if you don't get the Pokemon you need to win the match, which we'll talk about in a moment, the best thing you can do is fill. On my way up to Master rank, I was filling with a lot of different Pokemon. Filling simply means that you pick the role that your team needs. No one picked a defender? Here you are. No supports? I got you guys. No attackers? That's probably not going to happen, but fair enough. Think fast. Here comes tip number 3. My third tip is understanding that you only need to win a little over 50% of the time. The nice thing about getting to Master rank is really all you need is to win more than half the time and you will eventually get there. So from the main screen, you can pull up your favorite Pokemon and win rate by hitting the L button and scrolling down to favorite Pokemon. Inside there, you can see how you do with some of the Pokemon you play the most. While climbing the ranks, I would say I was somewhere between 65 and 75% with my top played Pokemon, but your win rate doesn't even need to be considerably high. You just need to win more often than not. So, how do you do that? Well, tip number 4 is here to help. My fourth tip might be a little controversial, but my fourth tip is Cinderace. I don't know the stats on this, and perhaps no one does, but I think teams without Cinderace have their win rates dropped considerably. While there are a couple Pokemon who come close to filling Cinderace's role, for instance, Greninja is someone that springs to mind, Cinderace's job as a ranged attack damage carry can almost not be replaced. Now, I know what you might be saying, but Jake, I carry with Garchomp. Jake, the best player in the world, told me that Mr. Mime is the only Pokemon. Yeah, I understand all that, and I'm not saying any of that's not true. Sure, it's Mr. Mime. Garchomp's the greatest. I get it. But as a solo queue player, if you do not have a Cinderace on your team, especially a competent Cinderace, which, if no one picks it, is going to be you will have a hard time winning. I'm not saying in competitive high rank play that Cinderace is the best, blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying if no one picks Cinderace and you are a good Cinderace, even if your team has an attacker already, I would highly recommend picking Cinderace. Get good with this Pokemon. Hey, why are you feeling down? Tip number 5.
Aw, because everyone forgets about me.
Well, don't worry, friend. I'm going to let everyone know about you. It's time to talk about tip number 5, and that's participating in team fight objectives. As I touched on earlier with taking the top lane, one of the most important things you can do inside Pokémon Unite is Unite.
Pokémon Unite!
Ah, what a callback. At the 7-minute mark of the match, Dreadnought and Rotom spawn, and one is way more important than the other, and that is Dreadnought. It gives your entire team experience. It helps the lower leveled people on your team catch up, and it helps your carries get even stronger. The team that wins every Dreadnought fight often wins the game. So what do? If you're a jungler, you make it to the bottom lane. If you're an attacker in the top lane, you make it to the bottom lane. If you're a defender in the top lane, you make it to the bottom lane. If you're in the bottom lane, you stay in the bottom lane and you call out the fight at Dreadnought. It's time to fight over this objective. I know what you may be thinking, but Jake, we'll leave the top lane all alone and we'll lose it. Who cares? It doesn't matter. But Jake, I'm going to go score 40 points here in the top lane. If you do that while your entire team loses the team fight at Dreadnought, that was not worth it. It is not useful. Please stop doing this. Go down and fight at Dreadnought at 7 minutes. If you do this in solo queue, your win rate is going to go up. How do I know? Because I did it. It's very important. If you lose Dreadnought, it's not the end of the world, but being there for the fight and helping your team secure it is monumentally important. It does not matter that much if you lose your top goal. I really don't care if you lose it. It's not that important. So please, when you start to see that timer pop up, head out of your lane and head to the bottom lane and get ready for this fight. If you do this with consistency and help your team win at Dreadnought, you will win more matches. I guarantee it. And that's a real guarantee, by the way. If you do this for 50 matches and your win rate happens to drop because of it, I will give you $100,000. Whoa, what if that was real? Tip number 6 is all about held items. Held items are pretty controversial in Pokemon Unite, but without too much effort, you can easily get 3 or 4 items to level 20, and that's where I'd recommend you get them to. The items I think that are most important to do that with are the Buddy Barrier, Focus Band, and Muscle Band. These items work pretty good on all Pokemon. The Buddy Barrier is absolutely insane, and I think it's the best item in the game. I've said this since the beta. Look it up. Why am I so angry? I think I need to eat something. When you use your Unite move, and this is often going to happen in a team fight, you get a shield and an ally of yours gets a shield equal to 40% of your HP. It's game changing. You need it. I think you absolutely need this item. Muscle Band is pretty amazing on most Pokemon because while not everyone can take advantage of the attack bonus, everyone can take advantage of basic attack speed and that your attacks do more damage to enemies based on a percentage of their HP. So even a Pokemon that doesn't have high attack, like an Eldegoss, can be chipping away at people with this item. The Focus Band also really amazing. When you drop to low HP, it starts to regen your health. It's on a 90-second cooldown, but when used correctly, it's kind of a get out of jail free card. You stay alive because of this item. After these, you can start to upgrade something more character specific, but these 3 items are pretty great on almost everyone. Hey, Can you keep a secret? Tip number 7 really likes you, but they don't want anyone to know, so just be cool about it, okay? Here is tip number 7. Tip number 7 is try not to feed, meaning don't get KO'd a ton. You want to win your lane and take those wild Pokemon from the enemy, but at the same time, you don't want to get KO'd a bunch and start feeding them, making them really, really powerful. That way, when they walk into another lane, everyone's shocked that they're 3 levels higher because they knocked you out and took all the wild Pokemon. Not only are they going to gain some experience by beating you, but they're going to gain more by scoring on your goal, and they're going to gain more by taking out the wild Pokemon that you're not able to farm while you're gone. So as best you can, try to stay alive. Not getting KO'd is also really important because getting KO'd early on in your lane creates a domino effect. Your ally is now alone in lane. If the jungle comes up, it's a 3-on-1 and they're definitely going to take them. Now they have to play super defensively and they can't farm. It's just a mess. So try to stay alive. Don't put yourself in a position to get KO'd just because you might be able to catch that Ninetales. I think it's a risky play that you often don't need to make, especially when you're playing by yourself. And now my final tip, number 8. You knew I had to do it to you. We have to talk about Zapdos. A lot of the game revolves around the Zapdos fight. My big tip with Zapdos is don't try to take Zapdos unless you've won the team fight at Zapdos. What does this mean? At the end of the game, everyone makes their way to Zapdos, more often than not. Some people run off and try to score, and while this isn't always the worst play in the world, I think it has a very low success rate overall. Zapdos is a really important fight, so gather your team together, don't go in there 2 people or 3 people at a time, and try to fight the enemy team, not Zapdos, but the enemy team. If you can beat the enemy team inside there and 3 of them are down, then okay, start attacking Zapdos. This is, of course, if you even need Zapdos. If you don't need Zapdos and you win the team fight at Zapdos, I don't know why you would start attacking it. If you are already winning, don't put yourself in a position to let the enemy steal it from you. However, if you need Zapdos, you need to win that team fight first. Stealing Zapdos is a last-ditch effort. The big thought with the Zapdos fight is you don't need to start fighting Zapdos until you have beaten the other team. So get with your squad, group up, tell everyone to gather here, and then try to win that team fight. Only then should you be trying to take Zapdos. I hope that helps, trainers. That's what helped me make my way to Master Rank. Thank you all for watching or listening to this. I love you very much. You're quite special. And if anyone in your life is bullying you, go ahead and give me their phone number and I'll give them a stern talking to. I'll see you all next time.